Welcome.
Hi, everyone, and we're Ansh and Radhika, and today we're interviewing Tia Mathur, who's studying at NYU and majoring in economics and computer science. It's such a dream major to have Tia. Welcome.
Hi.
So we're so happy to have this conversation with you. You want to start?
Okay, yeah. So getting an admission at NYU, that's a crazy, like people dream of going there, right? And your term,
Yeah.
like first semester just ended. So if you would like to summarize your term in like 4 words, term in New York, how would that be?
I think big city, big dreams. Like that's the only thing I can say because, you know, like you have this vision of New York as like, city that doesn't sleep and it's New
Yeah.
York, I also romanticized it, but I think like I wasn't ready for what hit me over there. Like it's very easy to be isolated because of how big the city is
Yes,
and
correct,
how
correct.
intimidating it is. But also at the same time, like there's nowhere else I'd rather be.
Wow.
But the first semester was worth it, you would say?
Yeah, it definitely was. I think like when it started off, honestly, I was very intimidated. Like,
Yes.
not that I don't
Uh,
come from a big city, like Delhi is a huge city, but
Right.
like,
Yes.
it's New York is so much more interactive. And everyone I met seemed to like they're not doing this for the first time. Like they had so much
Uh-huh.
confidence and I was
Correct.
still confused. And it was very intimidating. But I think like slowly, once you realize that like being extroverted is honestly the best thing you can do over there. Once
Yes.
you start like interacting with people and then you find someone who's feeling as lonely as you are, like it all just clicks. And then,
Yes.
one
I,
minute you're in
I I
your
think it's the
your
same for everyone when you talk to any international student going like
yeah, no, it
everyone has the
definitely
same
is.
experience.
Yeah.
So let's okay, so let's rewind to your high school journey. So you always dreamt of going like studying abroad, or it was just a last minute thing that happened?
Honestly, like, I think this is quite like, I don't know if I should be saying this on camera, but till 10th grade, I don't think I even knew like how college worked. Till
Okay,
10th grade, I
okay.
was pretty bindas about everything. Then 10th grade, boards came, and then everyone, like, because boards has this like
Yeah, that
big,
bubble
scary
burst
name to it.
instantly.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And then everyone's putting so much pressure on that really like makes you think about your future.
correct.
Like now I have to start getting serious. So I think that's when I started considering my options and like, you know, New York has always been like this dream to go to for me.
Yes.
So NYU was definitely like my top school.
Okay.
So yeah,
So your main preparation for studying abroad started in the 11th grade, right?
yeah, it did.
Okay,
Great.
It
wonderful.
was
Could you
quite hectic.
briefly walk us through your journey? Like, how did your high school look like? What were the projects? Like, we saw that you were
Yeah.
like an author at Indian Express, which is such an esteemed organization. How was that? Like, can you walk us through your projects or played by her,
So
like website that you created?
yeah. So I think definitely 11th grade, I really like started thinking about like what I have to do. And I think the main confusion for me, and I think most students, even at like Project Clay, when, I've been speaking with students, the
Uh-huh.
main thing that people don't understand is that in a university, more than a well-rounded student, they're looking for a well-rounded student body. So,
Correct.
in your head, you have this thing of like, I want to do everything. But
Right.
at the end of the day, that's not the right answer. Like, you have to
Correct.
create a profile specific for yourself and,
Hmm.
like, definitely show skills, but mainly focus on what you're passionate about. So,
Hmm.
that's what I did essentially. So I was the head of sports at my school,
Wonderful.
and I've been playing football for many years, and I was, playing at the national level. And so a lot of my articles that I wrote for Indian Express as well were based on that. And,
Okay.
economics as well, because that was the major I was considering. And played by her, another Played by Her was a platform basically for female athletes. Because
Okay.
even when I played for a club and I played for, nationals, there's people
Yes.
from like all across the socioeconomic spectrum. So
Yes.
you see like issues that, women face. So
Hmm.
I think that was something I was really passionate about. And so I decided to start Played by Her based on that. And I think few other extracurriculars that I had were also related to that. Like I did an internship at the Delhi Soccer Association. So I
Wow.
kind of tailored my profile around like that's what I'm passionate about.
Hmm.
And other than that, for schools, like when it comes to tests and everything, like because I started late, it was quite hectic. Like I gave
Yes.
three APs at one time and then
Okay.
SAT prep along with schoolwork.
We've all
So
gone
it's
through that.
definitely, Yeah, it's definitely painful, but at the end of the day, it's worth it.
Okay, so let's break it down. So, what I hear from people is academic is not that important when you apply abroad. But when I applied, I saw that was a myth, and academics actually matter a lot.
Definitely is.
So, let's talk about
Yeah.
your academic journey.
Because
How,
people say that there's this burger, that high school burger, like academics is a part, then there is,
Yeah.
extracurricular.
extracurriculars, there's social, there's so many different things. What do you think played major role in your admission and just in general,
So,
just any?
two questions. How were
Right.
your academics, and what was a thing that played a major role in your admission at NYU?
Okay. So I think I can answer both of these questions with one go because I do think my academic record was one of my major reasons for admission because I
Okay.
had a pretty stellar academic record because I remember the first time I had gone to meet a counselor, the first thing he said to me is that tum baki sab bhul jao, the first thing that matters is your academics.
Correct,
Like,
correct.
Very
because
important.
that's like for any top college, like that's what'll get your leg in the door, you know? After
Yes,
Correct.
that, to open the whole thing is where your extracurriculars and your profile and everything comes
yes,
in.
So
correct.
true.
But if you
Correct.
don't have that strong academic base, then all of it is kind of pointless.
Hmm.
So definitely through like 10th, 11th, 12th, I had a pretty stellar academic record. I'd taken a pure commerce stream, which isn't
Okay.
very like preferable in the US system, but because I had really good grades, it worked out. And I didn't go test optional. Given the SAT and I had a 1510
Oh wow, wonderful.
and
That's
I'd
amazing.
Yeah,
three
that's
APs.
so okay.
Yeah,
Great.
I'd given three APs as well.
Okay.
Um, uh, Macroeconomics, calculus, and psychology because why not?
Yeah, okay.
So yeah. So I think it's definitely like now with the changing test system, I'm not really sure about
Hmm.
where the SAT lies, but according to me, I still think it was pretty important when I was doing my applications. But
So you gave
your
the
school,
digital SAT or the paper SAT?
so I'd given the digital SAT because
Okay,
I'd
okay.
given it really late, so we'd switched the
Okay,
format, new
okay, yeah.
format back then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Yeah.
can you tell us, since like Project Clay is where you mentor students, what is it that you
Yeah.
provide? And how do you handle one student when they come to you and they're like, I want to go to NYU? What is your approach?
Yeah. Okay, so I think firstly, you know, this sounds kind of weird, but I think a lot of students, they're so focused on thinking how they can fit into a school. They don't
Uh-huh.
think about
Yeah.
what school like fits best to them.
Hmm.
For me, like because NYU, like I like that, no campus structure, that
Yeah.
sort of freedom living in the
Uh-huh.
city. But that's not the same for every student. So, like when I had a student work with me for NYU, the first thing I asked them was, do you really want to go to
Yeah.
NYU? Like
Uh-huh.
think about that first. And then after that, like the first thing I'd have them do is do a lot of school research. Because I
Uh-huh.
think whether it's in your essays or whether it's for your own knowledge, school research is the most important thing.
Yeah.
Like college admissioners want to know that you want
Actually, I want
NYU,
to go to
you
there.
know?
Yeah, correct, correct.
Yeah. So I think school research is the first step to beginning any journey. And then, of course, there are like I've mainly focused with my students on their essays. I have them write down everything they possibly can because they try to, because all of the essays have like pretty strict word counts, right? So they all
Yeah.
try to like write a compromised essay. But I
Yes,
think
correct.
like getting all your ideas down first is best. And
Hmm.
like sometimes another thing that I think I provide is how brutal I am with my students. Like
Okay.
I'll
That
tell
really
them
works
जहाँ
out,
पर
man.
काफी गंदा लिखा हुआ है.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
like you need the like third person point of view on it
No.
to
Correct.
see where you're going wrong. And then after, the perfect flow has become and there's a main idea to the essay
Yes.
because the admissions officer like they're not going to like you can't write a very confusing essay because
Ah,
they're going to spend like maybe 2 minutes reading it and your
correct.
idea needs to be clear in that.
Yes.
So
Correct.
intro, ending, everything, that's the two things I focus most on because those have to be like the clearest. But
Yes.
yeah, and then start chopping words after it's done to make it more concise and readable. But yeah, I think that's the general process
Yes, I think
with what I
essay makes or breaks your application, right? I mean, yeah, I feel.
yeah, it definitely does.
So let's
See, because a
assume
lot of the things like hmm.
uh-huh.
No,
No,
I was saying a lot of the things like other than the essay in the profile, like academics and all you can handle yourself and with the like extracurriculars as well, like at the end of the day there's like I can provide fresh ideas. I can provide inspiration on what to do. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, that's your own drive that'll get you there.
Yes. And so let's assume a situation, right? I am
Hmm.
Ansh and I'm in the 12th grade. I don't have that good of an academic background, and like I got around 85% in my 10th or something like that, and I really want to study at NYU. And if I come,
Hmm.
yeah, Tia, can you help me apply to NYU? So what's two things that you can tell me that I should focus on that might get me to NYU? Like, yep.
So I think like NYU especially, one thing I've realized is that if there's any college, and of course I'm being biased because a little bit because it's my school, but like NYU values creativity a lot. Like they
Okay.
will really like they will want you to maximize your full imagination,
Okay.
and like thinking as outside of the box you can. So honestly, it does boil down to the essay at that point because you need to give them a reason to want to admit you.
Right.
Correct.
Like, okay, okay, your academic record isn't great, but what makes you excited to come here? Like, a lot of like, even in the essays, like, again, comes school research, right? Like, you pick out those small, like, very niche things that, like,
Yeah.
the general public doesn't have
Correct.
an idea
Correct.
about
Correct.
that
Correct.
NYU
Correct.
offers,
Correct.
Yeah.
and you tell them, I want
You
this.
study this,
And,
yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
and
Yes.
like, they'll feel like, okay, maybe we can really provide you with
Yeah, maybe I
something.
don't know. I remember this anecdote. Like I was preparing for my college applications, and my counselor was like, "Why don't you think about the library? Like, there's this library that you want to sit, and there's this bench that overlooks this building. Talk about that. No, like,
Exactly.
college will be excited to take you that
Exactly.
you value it so much.
Yeah.
So yeah, I
Yeah.
think I related with that. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Great.
And
Yeah.
I think because NYU has like multiple schools as well, like
Yeah.
and like multiple schools that have like exemplary courses, like whether it's Tisch or it's Stern or it's CAS,
Yeah.
like NYU offers or Gallatin actually. Gallatin, like you get so many major options. You can literally study whatever you want. So, you make it that niche that they feel like our course, like our specific course, can provide you with something that other schools can't. And that's why you want to come here.
Okay.
Correct.
So, I mean, that's crazy. And every student has that in mind, like how much studying at NYU would cost. And what you've heard is NYU is one of the most costliest universities in the US. And so let's talk about scholarships. So you would have been through the process, you know what scholarships to provide and financial aid. So if you were to talk about it for a bit about how does that work in NYU?
So, firstly, I think it's a bit of a myth that NYU is that expensive. Their
Okay.
tuition is pretty similar to a lot of the colleges in the US,
Okay.
but the extra additional cost that comes is the cost of living in New York.
Yes.
And
Okay.
that I can tell you for sure, it is a very expensive city. I'm barely managing on a budget, but I'm
Okay.
somehow managing. But if you budget well, then, you can make it work, but it is definitely expensive. The city is expensive. That's something you just have to, even if you have a scholarship, that's just something you have to like, make your peace with.
Right.
And there are a lot of merit-based scholarships that NYU offers. Some are like limited for international students, so I didn't apply for a scholarship.
Uh-huh.
But definitely NYU offers aid when needed.
Okay.
But even regardless of that, be ready for the fact that it's expensive to live there.
Correct. It's part of the game. You gotta take it.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
So what all colleges did you apply apart from NYU and how was the experience?
How was a general application college experience? It's such a, story in everyone's head. There's high school students applying to
Yeah.
US colleges, those endless Common App essays. How was that for you? Where
Yeah.
all did you
No,
apply?
definitely. I think I'll actually like I will get some hate if I, talk about too much stress because I had gotten an early decision and I didn't face
Oh.
like the RD
It's the
pressure of
best thing
That's
that
the
could
best.
ever.
Yes,
Yeah.
you were
yeah, so I had like the ideal scenario, so I can't really complain
when
much.
everybody was hustling, you were just enjoying that. Hey, I'm gonna enjoy my
Yeah.
summer in New York.
Yeah.
So
No,
you were
I
so
was.
sure that you applied ED1 to NYU, right?
Yeah, I was 100% sure that NYU is my top school.
Wow,
So,
that's amazing.
and honestly, I think like because I feel like I did think about applying to the Ivy Leagues or like other schools,
Uh-huh.
obviously, and like, like for the longest time, Michigan was one of my top choices as
Okay.
well. But, there's a point where you have to like stop focusing on prestige and start focusing on what like is the best fit for you.
I think that's
And
very
like, you know,
important.
like
That's yes, correct.
broken campus life and the more freedom and the, you know, getting to explore New
Yes.
York City. Like all of these things were like important factors for me. And I thought it's the school that fit best with me. And I definitely made the right choice because now that I've lived in the city, I think I'd struggle a lot on campus. So,
And I think that's a very
I mean,
smart
it's definitely,
move that you knew you were right
yeah.
fit at NYU, as many children like me,
Yeah.
like just try it and apply to Ivy Leagues and then we mess up in the end.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's a very smart move. You need to know what college you fit in and make sure you apply ED1. And I think ED1 made your chances even more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, no, it definitely
Definitely.
does.
I mean,
Yeah.
great. And
Is there any advice that you would like to give to high school students?
I think just in all the factors that you consider, make sure you consider what suits you best
okay.
and give up mat marna, bro. Like, you know, I honestly like I've seen people who like didn't get their EDs and then after that kind of like gave up and
Yes,
like, you know,
correct.
like
Yeah,
left
demotivated.
their
Yeah.
essays half and like just lost hope. But then I've seen some people who like, you know, kept at it and got off the wait list or got into better schools. Like it's honestly it's a game of luck. Just try as hard as you
Yes.
can.
It's a gamble, right? Yeah.
It is. It really is. It
Yes.
is.
And one important thing that I think we missed was the SAT. 1510 is no joke. I mean, I have tried my best, and 1510 is not easy. And what do you think made you get that score? Because I think that's top 5%,
Yeah.
2% in the world. So, how did you prepare for
Okay.
the SAT? And like, come on, give me
Right.
some tips.
So the thing, my problem was that my math was very strong and my
Problem
English
with
was
you was
really
that my math was very
Very
strong.
strong.
There's such an
Yes.
but
oxymoron.
my English was really weak. So like
Yeah.
in all of the practice tests that I gave, I'd get like 790, 800 maths, but then I barely touched the 600 line on English. Like for some reason, it just used to freak me out. I don't know
Yeah.
why.
The
And
same
then,
happened with me.
so
Yeah. Hmm.
yeah, so I did my SAT coaching from Qtala. It's in Delhi.
Okay.
And I think the main thing that helped me was the amount of practice tests we had. Like, you know, once you like keep giving it again and again and again and again, like आदत पड़ जाती है थोड़ी सी.
Yes.
So when you're actually in front of that test, you're never caught off guard.
Hmm.
You know, because with the SAT also, like they have, like even certainly with math has rules everywhere, but even with English, like there are certain sets and rules. And
Yeah.
once you get the hang
Hmm.
of it now,
Uh,
then like
you
you
understand the
can think
pattern,
back
right?
to
Yeah.
मैंने ये वो question किया
Yeah.
था and this is the same concept applied.
Yes.
So
Right.
I think honestly at the end of the day, because my English was very weak and it's just hard work that it boils down to at the end of the day. Just keep doing it again and again. But honestly, like I think at the same time, it's also important to give yourself a break because I've also seen students who face thoda burnout from this.
Uh-huh.
So
Correct.
like
That's
Uh,
all.
uh,
just my advice is put hard work through the year and then one day before the exam, kuch mat karna. Like
yeah,
just
that's
let
what you
yourself calm down.
Those last minute revisions don't really help out. They
Last
just
minute
add to your
with the
stress.
SAT, like it's about your like concepts. Like there's no like ratta questions they're asking you. So last minute there's nothing you can
I
change.
mean, that's so
but
So
true.
just
Like,
relax.
having a mentor like this, like, would have helped me so much. Like,
yeah.
I was in my school, like, Projectly is really helping.
And I think one myth that I've heard is that English cannot be improved like in a month or two, right? That's what I've heard from a lot of people, that English is a section you cannot improve in a month. But you are saying the opposite thing. So how did that work for you? Because I tried
I
the same
think
way, I
yeah.
didn't, and it didn't help me. I tried tutoring for like a month or two, and my score dropped
Yeah.
again. So
No, so I actually for the last SAT, I think I prepped in 15 days. And
okay.
because I had APs right before that and
Huh.
I didn't have any time. So I done like prep like maybe 5, 6 months back for like a month. And then after that, for the last stretch, I think I had like some 11 to 15 days because I had APs right before that and I was giving the June SAT in May, and APs are in May. But I think like with Qtella, at least the teacher I had, Sanskriti ma'am, she was a rock star. And she like, you know, like because there's such rules, it's like a puzzle. And because I'm very like quant oriented mind and like math suits me more, so she kind of broke it down for me like that. So like once you understand the rules and how what fits in where, like
Yes.
it all just starts to click somehow.
Yes.
So I feel like, and with SAT math, that's specific. Of general English, ka, I don't know, but with SAT math, I feel like there is a set of rules or
Huh.
something. Like this one rule that I remember that hasn't left my head till now is that comma and acts as a full stop. And
Yes.
I remember, like, these small rules, just like fitting them into the question, you kind of, I think I jugadoed my way through the
Yeah.
You like
question.
understood the exam pattern, you studied it
Yeah,
with the help of
yeah,
I think that helped you in English.
That's
yeah. I
That
wasn't
genuinely took
focusing
the
on my English, I
mathematical
was focusing
mindset
on the
to crack
pattern of the
English.
SAT. Yeah.
crazy. Crazy,
Great,
crazy, crazy.
amazing. It was amazing talking to you, Tia.
And I think your experience is amazing,
Yeah,
academic stellar, and now you're helping students write their essays. Okay. So anyone
beautiful.
who doesn't have a good academic background could take mentorship from Tia. She'll help you get into NYU. Okay. That's okay, nice. So any last
Okay.
minute advices, one advice, come on, last advice that you would give to anyone watching this.
Anyone watching this, honestly, just keep at it. It gets better. That's
Yes.
all. Like, I
Hard work
know
pays at
it's
the end,
stress
yes.
right now, and I remember during my application process early when I was doing my Common App essay and getting ready, because I did some of my RD supplementals as well. I was like, boss, ye to mere se nahi hoga.
Ah,
But
yes.
then at the end of the day, it pays off. So just know it gets better.
Right.
Wonderful. Great interview. I mean, I think a lot of people would have learned a lot.